guys. I know it's hot, but in celebrating what we've got, we have taken our blessings so for granted for so long that people kind of assume that what we have in America is the norm for the world. I saw polling earlier this week that less than 40%, that only 40% of Americans plan to celebrate America's 250th. They just don't understand how different we are. And if we've had a blessing recently, I would say it's having all the people from other nations come for FIFA. If you've been seeing their social media posts, I mean, people losing their mind over the fact that you get free refills in America. Nobody gets that in Europe, they say. More than 2 ice cubes in your drink. I saw a post from one guy who said, I'm here at a truck stop at night. There's 18-wheelers coming in and out like crazy. He said, I can't believe what I'm seeing. Nobody is jumping on the trucks as they're going slow, and they're not mugging the drivers, and they're not opening the doors, taking. I've never seen this where 18-wheeler could drive slow and not have the driver mug. I mean, there's just so many things that we take for granted. And so within the framework of what we have and the blessings we have, I want to kind of put some statistics to it. So if you look over the 5,800 years of recorded world history, we've had thousands of nations over that period of time. University of Illinois and University of Chicago Law School said, what's the average length of a governing document in the history of the world? And they have thousands of nations to look at, 6,000 years. And they found that the average length of a constitution, a governing document, was between 17 and 19 years. So we sit here at 250 years, and it doesn't seem really that different to us because we've been stable for so long. But if you're France, for example, France had their revolution 20 years after the American Revolution. France has been through 15 constitutions in that same period of time, and they're considered one of the stable nations of the world. So what we have is so unique, it's so special. It goes back to our birth certificate, the Declaration of Independence. And if you look at the Declaration, Glenn showed you that original draft of the Declaration. That is such an awesome document to read. It starts with 160 words that say, these are the 6 principles of government. This is what government's supposed to do. And then it gave 27 grievances saying, and here's where the British got it wrong. They have not done the 6 things. Here's 27 examples. And one of those grievances that he mentioned was that of Thomas Jefferson saying, they've imposed a slave trade on us. That's not what government's supposed to do. And so as you look in that document, you look and go through those grievances, you find out a whole lot of who we are. But finding those 6 principles, principle number 1, there is a God. Principle number 2, he creates rights and wrongs, the laws of nature, nature's God. Number 3, he gives us certain inalienable rights. Number 4, the primary purpose of government is to protect the inalienable rights he gives us. Number 5, beyond inalienable rights, we can have the consent of the governed, the will of the majority. And number 6, if you have a government that doesn't do the first 5 things, you have a right to create a new government. Those were the 6 principles that they announced. Nobody in the world was doing that. And so those principles are principles that we need to really kind of incorporate and think about, because the Declaration is so fundamental to who we are. Do you know that when states came in after the Civil War, and states came in before the Civil War, when states came in that hadn't been part of the original 13, Congress required them that they operate their government by the Declaration of Independence and by the U.S. Constitution in addition to their state constitution. That's why in public schools for generations, there were 4 documents every year on which students took a written exam: the U.S. Constitution, the state constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and Washington's farewell address. Those were seen as the 4 guideposts that would keep us on track and keep us moving the right direction. And so in looking at those documents, looking at those principles, looking at the Declaration of Independence, one of the things I think that will help us remember how special this is by recognizing the cost that was paid by those who did this. I mean, we venerate the Founding Fathers today, and they're remarkable people. We have right down the hall at the Capitol, there's this 14-foot high painting, 20 feet wide, of the signers of the Declaration, presenting the Declaration to Congress. It's awesome when we venerate those guys. But most people today don't know who they are. I was at Duke University Law School, sharp kids there. And I put up that picture of the signers of the Declaration and said, tell me who you can call by name. And the whole law school class got 2 names. Well, there's 54 you didn't mention. And they're responsible for what we've got here. They're the guys who came up with ideas that no other nation had put into paper. And so a great way to celebrate our 250th, let me challenge you, get a list and see who's on that list. Look at the signers of the Declaration. And then say, hey, I'm going to take 5 of these names. I'm going to find out who the people were behind these names. I'm going to find out what they did. I'm going to find out about a Richard Stockton, what he went through. He's one of the 7 guys who lost his life for what he wanted us to have. But we never think of Richard Stockton out of New Jersey. And Thomas Nelson out of Virginia. Who in the world is he? A great way to remember what's special about what we're celebrating here is to go back and look at those guys. And so I just challenge you, choose any 5 names. Just choose 5 names off the list and read a story about them. Make them individuals, make them people again. And then you start saying, hey, we are special because I can do some of what they did. I can't do all what they did, but I can learn those principles. And I challenge you too to study the principles of the Declaration. Those 6 principles, man, if we would get American government back today to running by those 6 principles, we would have a completely different system. As we've gotten away from those principles, we have grown in ways that are hard to comprehend. Founding Fathers, through the Declaration, gave us limited government. Currently now, there are 4,500 volumes of federal laws. There are 4.5 million words in those laws. And if you guys were to commit to read 100 pages a day of the current federal code, you could finish it in 123 years. That's all it would take you. I mean, we've gone from a limited government because we understood principles to an expansive government. And one of the great ways to respect our 250 is go back to fundamental principles. Go back to the things that made us special for 250 and don't adopt the things that have caused other nations to fall over that period of time. So the things I would challenge you to do, and by the way, I love one of the posts that I saw from one of the guys here for FIFA. He said, he said, I've heard a lot about America. He said, and he told people in his country, he said, if you come to America, you'll love this country. If you listen to what the news says, you'll hate this country. And that really is kind of where we are. So challenge you, get back to the original stuff, look at the original people, look at the original principles. That's one of the best ways we can venerate and preserve the 250th and make sure that we've got more anniversaries yet to come. God bless you guys.